The Digimon TCG has a huge formats problem. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to Team Slinger. My name is Peter, and today we're going to be talking about Digimon TCG formats. And more specifically, we're going to be looking at a couple of formats that you can try out with your friends. So this is kind of going to be stream of consciousness. I did make this little presentation to make things easier on myself and to give you guys a little bit of a visual. But we're going to start with why we're talking about formats in the first place. So I figure right now is kind of we're getting close to the point where formats are going to become a little bit more relevant than they are right now in Digimon. Last year we got the Ultimate Cup format, and a lot of people thought that was fantastic. It's a new way to play the game. It's interesting. The top decks tend to vary a little bit from traditional format because the ban list is a little bit different. You are playing with color restrictions, and that just kind of shakes things up a little bit. We are kind of dealing with a bit of power creep right now, I feel like, and a lot of people that I've seen in the comments of other YouTube videos kind of feel the same way, where Digimon cards just kind of get crazier and crazier. Like in a lot of card games, it's not abnormal, but in Digimon it feels especially pronounced, and we kind of deal with this problem where cards from older sets become irrelevant. And this is really, really obvious when you look at cards from BT1, BT2, the old starter decks. The old starter decks are unplayable. I'd argue that there's this huge fall off anywhere from BT8 and older before the X antibody cards come out. Where if you try and build a deck that's centered around some kind of boss monster from before the X antibody era, you're just kind of playing an unplayable deck, and you're gonna get blown out of the water by anything new. So power creep is kind of becoming extremely relevant, and with the release of BT14, that feels even more obvious. We're getting Blast cards. We're getting kind of really obviously more powerful decks than other decks, and I feel like it's hard to say because I don't play the Japanese meta, um, but decks that don't have access to Blastase or mechanics that counteract Blastase are going to have a really hard time fighting these decks. And I think it's a relevant time to have a discussion about ways you could play the game if you're not excited to deal with all that power creep. So, with that as our premise, we're going to start by looking at what I am going to call modifier formats. Um, the first of those is going to be what we could call legacy. Uh, in my opinion, we would be choosing BT8, and all cards in this format would have to be BT8 or older. I picked BT8 arbitrarily. I feel like everything before the BT9 X antibody set is much weaker than cards that came out after the fact. You could probably move this point. I could argue it falls anywhere from BT6 to BT8. But the idea is just to kind of take the older era of Digimon. It was a lot slower, a lot more different powerful cards being relevant, and you would take the old ban list up to the release date of BT8. So that means our ban list would just be Mega Digimon Fusion, and then all these other cards at one with Reinforcing, Ice Wall, Argomon, HPD, Savior, Huckmon, and Izemon. So much more simple Digimon. Um, Definitely might be a breath of fresh air for some of the older players. And if you're a player like me who never got to play this format, you would potentially have a chance to give it a try and see if you like it. So I think this one's kind of a no-brainer. Again, you could move that start date, but next we could look at modern. This is only relevant because I feel like the Blastase cards are going to be strong. I think they're going to be game-changing, and I think there's going to be a large chunk of people that are already vocal about not being excited about Blastase, and I think this would be a good opportunity for them to have a format to play where they're not worrying about BT14. So, in my opinion, this format would be anything up to BT13. So, basically the pre-Blastase era of Digimon. And it would have the current ban list up until the release of BT14. So, once BT14 comes out, that would be the cutoff point for the ban list. The idea being that this is the full Digimon experience before Blastase. So, this would just be the format for all the people that are like, well, Blastase is unfair, don't like it, don't like stealing memory, don't like the overflow mechanic, then this would be for you. Um, Lastly, we would have unlimited. No restriction on card usage, so this could be post BT14, this could be pre BT14 with no ban list. If you're ever sad that you missed out on the era of Mega Digimon fusioning into a giant Susanomon play or an Omnimon's Wart play, because now that card is garbage, this would be a format for you. And that's pretty straightforward. I think I've tried this one with my friends before. I think this one's great. It's tons of fun. It's a different experience. Then we would have our post Blastase formats. This would be kind of what we're considering our current format already. It's no restriction on card usage, so basically anything that's come out you can play, barring the ban list. So we'd have the current ban list, current card pool, nothing crazy there. It's just regular Digimon. Um, then we have what I would call creative formats. These are non-traditional. These do not exist. These are things that I just, when I sat down and I said, I'm going to talk about formats today, these were the immediate thoughts I had. So this is low effort. There might be some glaring holes with them, but you know what? All of these sound fun to me. So let's talk about them. My first choice would be something kind of like the tag duels in Yu-Gi-Oh! Tamer Tag Tournament. Be 2v2. You would have a shared egg pool. You'd have a shared raising area. You get to use separate decks, but you have a shared card pool across your team. So the 4 copies rule applies across your decks. And the idea for that is that you're going to be forced to find combinations of decks that play well together and combo off each other, which I think just opens a whole dynamic of Digimon that isn't really played with, where people have to stray outside of archetypes and find ways to make things work. I think it would be interesting. I wouldn't take this as like a serious, like, oh, this is the best thing for competitive ever. Like, we need to have a whole Tamer Tag Tournament, you know, official event from Bandai. But this would just be something fun you could play with your friends, or once a month if there was some casual tournament held. This would probably be fun to watch. Next we have Rookie Cup. Kind of taking inspiration from Little Cup and Pokemon. Just all the Digimon in your main deck can only be level 3. So rookies only. The only thing that would be interesting to see is that the ban list would have to be modified because cards like Crimson Blaze and other board wipe cards might be really, really good. I'd also be a little bit worried about rookie archetypes like D-Brigade that already want to play lots of rookies. They play each other out. So those might be a little bit too strong in this format, but it's hard to say without playing it. You could also argue that people could just run 4 copies of Pillowmon and stop D-Brigade from running, or whatever that blue rookie is that stops playing rookies by effect as well. So this would be interesting to see shake out. It'd be cool to see what people do. Then we have what I would call Colorless Cup. It would be a super weird format where we treat every card as if it's colorless. So what I mean by that is that the color requirements for Digivolution are waived. So any level 3 can go into any level 4. Color requirements for options would be waived. So you don't have to have a blue card in play to play a blue option. Just if you have memory, you can play the option. And then color requirements specified in card text would have to be waived because otherwise this just doesn't work. So Minervamon or Mervamon, instead of playing a level 4 purple Digimon, you just play any level 4 Digimon, or Digimon with the keyword specified. But I think this would be neat. Ban list would have to be super weird. I don't know what would be good. I don't know if anything would be crazy, but it would be cool to see, and it'd be interesting to see what people would do when you just kind of take away all of the rules and say, these are the cards, play them. Then we would have Security Battle. I think this was one of the options Bandai gave us when they asked us to vote on a new format. I don't know what they called it, but I thought I remembered seeing something about a 10 security game mode where all your Digimon are played from security, but the idea is just like I said, you get 10 security instead of 5, and whenever a Digimon gets hit in security, it gets played without paying its play cost. Ban list would have to be modified. I don't know off the top of my head any mega levels that have ridiculously strong on-play effects, but I'm sure there are some, and I'm sure they would be extremely broken. Like Magna Angemon might be way too good, because you get the security effect and you get to recover 1 every time. So aside from that, nothing off the top of my head, but this would be interesting to see as well. I think we'd see much more Digimon-heavy decks, and that would be cool. Something to keep in mind as well is that these modifier cups that we listed, like Unlimited, Legacy, Modern, and we could count Ultimate Cup with its color restrictions, you could apply that to any of the formats that we just looked at to make 4 versions of any of the formats you want to play. So you could have things like Unlimited Rookie Cup, Legacy Tamer Tag Tournament, Unlimited Ultimate Cup. Sorry, that was a tongue twister. Unlimited Ultimate Cup, and Modern Unlimited Security Battle. So you can quite literally take any of these ideas, you can mix and match them, and you can decide what do you want to play and play it. That's kind of the beauty of having lots of formats with lots of different things. So I guess my point is, and what I'm getting at is that this took me like 20 minutes to whip up. And I don't think it's crazy or difficult to ask Bandai to give us more formats if I can sit down in 20 minutes and give you a list of potentially mostly fleshed out game modes that people probably wouldn't hate. I don't think they have to be competitive. I think it just needs to be fun for people to play and give us incentive to build different kinds of decks. That's kind of what we're really lacking, is an incentive to try new things that aren't conventional. Uh, yeah, I just don't know. I don't understand why we don't have more formats in this game. I look at games like Magic that I've played with my friends for a long time. I stepped away for a couple of years. I come back and there's way more formats, and I'm like, we have so many formats here. Why can't we have formats in Digimon? So I don't know. It's just food for thought. I think stuff like this starts at the level of the player. I think when we express interest in playing the game in different ways, that eventually Bandai should listen. So if any of these sound fun to you, I encourage you to give them a try. Try them with your friends. If you think any of these are fun, send them to your friends. Ask them to play with you. Uh, Talk to anyone you know who wants to host a tournament and say, hey, why don't we try something funky? You know, there's no reason not to. And if any of them suck, then they suck. Don't play them. But let me know what you think of any of these tournament ideas, any of these modifiers. Let me know if you have any ideas for things that sound fun that you think I should try. Let me know if you want to see any of these formats show up on this channel. But this was just kind of like a ramble rant about formats. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought. And yeah, have a nice day.